Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. Boys and girls, I am all sorts of excited to get your opinions on everything New York Jets. We're going to do this the same way we do it every night. 3 minutes on the timer. After 3 minutes...
That's it! You're out of here!
That's right, you're going to get ejected. I'm going to put the call-in number on the screen. We'll start going through calls now. Let me see where my little QR code is. Bam. So if you guys want to call in, just scan the QR code. I'll also pin it in the live chat. That's probably a good thing to do, Ryan. All right. Sorry about this. You'd think I'd be prepared for this. It only happens every single week. Never doing it when I need to. That's all right. Boys and girls, I am all sorts of excited for tonight. We are going to talk 3 hours of football. You get 1 hour of me here, then you get an hour of myself and Dom over on the Talking Jets channel, and then you get the 10 o'clock mock from Mr. Green Bean over on his channel. We are going to do the call-in show here until that time, until that 9 o'clock time, and then we'll transition you over to all those different spots. We got a whole bunch of things to talk about. We got the Justin Jefferson stuff potentially being available. Laken Tomlinson just got released as of like 20 minutes ago, making $8.1 million in salary cap space. And then you got the Dion Dawkins, kind of airing out the dirty laundry with Michael Clemens on a podcast. Interesting stuff that we could get into and talk about. Now, let me give you guys my consents thoughts real quick, less than 5 minutes, and then we'll jump into our phone calls. I've got Connor and Jake on the line already. First up, Justin Jefferson. If he's available, Joe Douglas needs to at least inquire about it. Is it realistic to happen? Definitely not. No shot. I shouldn't say no shot, but feels like it's less likely to happen because of our current cap restraints compared to where they were the last few years. Now, the Jets have tried to make some big moves for some free agent. I shouldn't say free agent. They tried to make some moves for tradable wide receivers, but nothing to the contract that Justin Jefferson is going to get, nor would it be the amount of draft assets you'd probably have to give up to get him. So I think it's probably less likely you wind up getting a Justin Jefferson. Not totally out of the realm of possibility, but I would say highly unlikely. Laken Tomlinson getting released right now, I think everyone pretty much agreed he was going to get cut at some point. I probably would have held on to him till after the June 1st deadline, or at least designated him a June 1st cut, which I don't know if they've actually decided to do that. That would at least free up $13 million, although I don't know if you have to wait until June to then spend that money. That could be something that could hold you up if that's a factor here. Laken Tomlinson needed to get cut. I would like to see AVT slot into that left guard role. I still want to see Tittman on the right-hand side. If you want to put him at center, that's fine too. I think interior offensive line is the strength of this free agent class. You could bring back McGovern, whether he's depth or your starting center. I think I would still like to see AVT and Tittman as the guards. I've seen some people in the chat talk about Cushenberry, the center from Denver, being an option. That could certainly be as well. And then as far as the Dion Dawkins stuff and I should have had the clip queued up. If you guys haven't seen it, it's basically him shirtless on a podcast saying, oh, that Michael Clemens guy, everyone on the Jets is like trash and they're like in it just for pictures and glam and, the publicity of it all as opposed to actually winning things, which I have a very hard time trying to argue. we had Hard Knocks and we didn't win anything throughout the course of the season. So clearly obviously we didn't want Hard Knocks. We just want to, getting assigned that. But there was, you don't burn a cheese head on social media and release all this different stuff, if you don't want the attention. And I don't think it's bad attention. I don't think the Jets have been getting in trouble and causing problems. I feel like that's far more of an issue. Right now, look, if you want to shut Dion Dawkins up, beat him. You won week 1. You didn't win the last matchup. You want to shut him up? Start winning some games. They've won the division the last 4 years. They've earned the right to talk. And then as far as camp Combine news. Combine starts up this week. So a whole bunch to talk about there. Players that we're going to be keeping an eye on, offensive linemen, how are they going to test? Where are their arm wingspans? What do they measure out to be? What are these free third round wide receivers going to look like? Whole bunch of stuff that we can get into today. But if you're hopping on in, make sure you hit that like button. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. And then if you'd like to support the channel even further, you could head over to Aura sponsoring the channel. If you guys want to get a 14-day free trial of Aura. I've had a lot of fun with it. I've actually had it on my phone the last about a week and a half, 2 weeks now. Has been blocking my number and blocking my email from all these data broker sites. And it's just so satisfying to see that you have been opted out of it. So if you want to do that, support the channel. If you do the 14-day free trial, it hopefully goes a little bit further and gets us some additional ad sponsorships. Would absolutely love that if you guys could do me a solid over there. But let's do some phone calls. Got to get to the phone call questions, things of that nature. First one up, we're going to go to Connor. Connor, how you doing, brother? That's not Connor. Where's Connor? Let me back up. What am I doing here? It's because I screwed this up the other day. Wait for it. Connor! What's up, dude?
Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
Hanging in there.
Yeah, the Lakin news. I'm actually a big fan of it. I mean, I'm just happy. It's something for me to talk about on my channel and just anything in Jets land, because I feel like Jets have been the Jet fans, like everyone on Twitter has been making such a big deal about this Justin Jefferson stuff. It's not gonna happen. I think we have to realize that the package we'd have to give up, and then. I just don't see him coming to the Jets. And then this Dion Dawkins stuff, like all this like podcast stuff, I really don't care about. It's like the stuff that gets said on like First Take and Get Up and stuff. Like it's something to talk about, but does it really matter? Like Dion Dawkins is shirtless in a pool on a podcast talking about how crappy the Jets are. Like who really cares? They, like you said, they've won the division 4 years in a row, and we did split a series last year with them, and everyone's making fun of his like man boobs or whatever. Like, come on, give the guy a break. I mean, he could talk crap about us all he wants. They're the better team. Who even, in my opinion, who even like takes the time to even acknowledge that stuff? Like, who even cares? I feel like
who was even watching that podcast? That's what I know. Who got the original clip? Because you're wasting your time.
Yeah, I just don't understand it, but I'm happy for free agency to kick off. I feel like that'll give another spurt. But Gator called onto my show earlier tonight, and he was saying about like there's gonna be all this nonsense with like everything, all this nonsense until like actual news starts to pick back up. Because like
this gonna be all hypothetical stuff and like, could this actually happen? Honestly, that's why I made a video today.
Yeah, the Justin Jefferson news just doesn't make sense. Like, I think at the end of the day, I personally think Courtland Sutton is going to be the wide receiver too for this Jets team, just because of the contract.
You know who's been calling that the longest?
UF. I remember. I think one of the first times you said it was when you were on Roundtable at when you went to Richie's studio, and that was one of the first times you predicted that, and it was a very valid prediction, just because the contract makes so much sense. I think Ridley's another option, but Evans I feel like would be great, but I just
Evans
don't
is
see
my
it.
hope. I would love to see Evans.
Oh,
I think Sutton is the
so
most
good.
realistic of it.
Yes, Sutton probably is the most realistic, and then you have Ridley, who they might look at. Last night I had Tigo on my show, and we were on the Jet X Factor off-season simulator, and they had some really it's so much fun. They had some really interesting trades on there, like a Mike Williams trade, a George Pickens trade, a lot of Bryce Huff trades, and personally,
so I
this
think Williams is going to get cut. I think you'll be able to sign him in free agency.
Yeah, I think there's a chance he gets cut. One last thing before I let you go. If you guys never checked out the Jet X Factor off-season simulator, this one is one of the best I think they've ever had. Definitely go check it out. Ryan, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward. I saw the show got moved to 9 o'clock tonight. I loved that you filled in on Reality Check last Thursday it was. So then we got the rest of this. We got the Talking Jets show, and then the 10 o'clock mock that I'll be sleeping for, that I'll watch on the bus ride to school tomorrow.
There you go. It's perfect. Connor, thank you so much for chiming in. If you haven't subscribed to Connor, make sure you hit him up. NY Jets Flight Talk. All right, let's head over to Jake. How you doing?
What's up, dude? How you doing?
I'm hanging in there. What are your thoughts on all things off-season-y right now?
Well, I mean, I guess they had to make this move at this point because he was a complete travesty at this point. I mean, now our offensive line is, 80% a question mark across the board? I mean, we can't even say Barrett Tucker's really a guarantee at this point. So,
well, you can guarantee he's going to be here. He's one of the pieces. It's just you don't know if he's going to be, healthy for the long term. I think it's going to be equally as big of a question mark as Mekhi Becton was the last 2 years.
Yeah, well, I had less confidence in Becton than I do with Barrett Tucker. I think Barrett Tucker at least has shown you that he's not going to make excuses like with Becton's weight and all his problems. But yeah, I just feel like now it's been back-to-back seasons of season-ending injuries. It's like there's just no guarantee this guy's going to make it past his rookie contract. I hope I'm wrong because he's probably the best player on the offensive line JD's brought in here. But right now our offensive line's we're back to square one again. So you hope that now he's going to have to take the money and, Cushion. I wanted Cushionberry years ago, and now we're going to have to pony up more money to get him, which sucks, but we're going to have to do it because we're desperate. And then you're looking at Tyron. We talked about before, Tyron Smith. Is he a shell of himself? Is John Jackson? Is he going to be the same player that we want him to be? We don't know. And then, to go into the draft, it's it's the names. Was it Fuga, whatever his name is, the name.
Yeah.
And then Porsche. Yeah, if these guys are all gone by 10, you have to trade down. You have no choice at that point because you can't start reaching for players and number one. And honestly, the fact we're even having a discussion about Justin Jefferson, I'm like, guys, seriously, are we in fantasy world here? Come on.
Hey, if you had told me there was a shot the Jets could have gotten Tyreek Hill or Mike Evans or Devontae Adams or Deebo Samuel, the Jets have made calls on all these players in the last few years. So, it's definitely in their mind to go out and spend big on a free agent wide receiver. I just don't, or not even necessarily a free agent wide receiver, but trade for a wide receiver. Calvin Ridley before his suspension happened. Granted, all these are drastically different compensation packages. Granted, the Deebo one, I believe the Jets offered 10 overall to try and get him, and I don't think that was actually accepted from what I've heard. So, it's who knows? I mean, Justin Jefferson, man, that would be wild. Could you imagine calling Garrett Wilson your number 2 wide receiver?
He's going to go play with Stroud. I think the Texans will make
not until we trade him. It's not happening.
Dude, no, I'm saying that I think Justin Jefferson is going to go to Houston. Houston's the most attractive spot in the NFL right now because of no state tax, craft division, and Stroud. If I'm a wide receiver, I'd want to go to the Texans right now. They're looking like what Deshaun Watson and all these guys and DeAndre Hopkins. This is what the team should have been. And now you have a quarterback that's actually more pliable, that's actually got a more well-handed, and he's not doing massage things or whatever. So it's just that's the situation there for us right now. It's just about we need another receiver, of course. I don't doubt it. But right now, if you want to make sure you watch Rodgers play more than 5 seconds of a season, this line has to be priority. No defense. I swear, if they take one defensive player at any point this offseason, I'm going to go bananas. But the problem is we have a defensive-minded coach. So that's the bad news.
I hear you, Jake. You've been ejected from the cockpit. He's not wrong. All right, let's see. I've got Joe and I've got Charles on the line. I just want to move over some of my topics from this screen. I want to add a few more. Let's just so we got some other things to talk about. We got to see. Call it beef with the Jets, and we'll say combine week. All right, do a little bit of that. Boom. That's how you set stuff up. Topics, baby. All right. Let's go over to the phone lines. We're going to go to Joe. Joe, how are you tonight, dude?
Hey, Ryan, what's up?
Hanging in there. Trying to move all my little topics around here. We'll go down here. Bam. How you doing tonight?
I got to be honest, man. I think the Jets got a better chance of meeting God than getting Justin Jefferson.
People, hey, I was saying before, I would have been shocked if we got Tyreek Hill. Would have been shocked if we got Mike Evans. I would have been shocked if we got T. Higgins. Jets still made calls on him. Be interesting to see.
Mike Evans is a free agent, isn't he?
No, but we called about him before the season end at the trade deadline as well.
I don't. You know what? I think Tampa Bay should try to get rid of him. You know what? He's getting near the end of his career, even though he's still all pro level. But I mean, he's going to retire probably within 2 or 3 years. Why not try to get a draft pick and get something good for him?
Well, so he is a free agent, like you said. He is a free agent, like you said. The Jets tried to trade for him this past year before he became a free agent.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So I think yeah, it's all right. He's going to test free agency, and I think both the Bucks and him have mutual interest in working out a contract, but he is top on my list. The fact that you don't have to trade anything for him, it's probably 3 years, $75 million is probably what you're going to have to pay him.
Could you imagine getting him and Garrett Wilson, man?
I mean, they just complement each other so well. The height, the size. He's only like 30, 31 years old as well. And when you start looking at Hall of Fame wide receivers or Hall of Fame caliber wide receivers, they usually play until like 35. They usually play a pretty good amount.
If he stopped playing now, he'd be in the Hall of Fame, Mike Evans.
Oh, yeah. 10 years at over 1,000 yards. He just had, did he have 14 touchdowns this past year too? It's absolutely bonkers.
Hey, we got a lot of work to do with the offensive line, man.
Oh, dude, it's going to be rough. Cutting Lakin. I think we all sort of expected Lakin to get cut and us have to fill that type of role anyway. Anything, any particular player you're hoping fills in that void?
Well, I hope we get the draft pick, that kid from Penn State.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about
he's not a guard. He's a tackle.
He's not a guard. No, he's a he's a left tackle.
Left tackle, that's right. Maybe you could push Vera Tucker over.
That's what I'm thinking. I think Vera Tucker.
Get somebody for a left tackle. I mean, left guard, excuse me.
Well, if you move AVT from right guard to left guard, I like McGovern at center or another interior offensive lineman. If you want to go after Cushenberry, that's totally fine with me. If you want to go after Brewer from the Titans, that's fine with me. And then you have Tippmann as your other guard. Like Tippmann and AVT as the two guards make me feel very good. And then you get one of your tackles at 10, and you got to sign one tackle in free agency. Figure it out that way. Joe, any last words?
Hey, go Jets. That's all I can say.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Joe, get the hell out of here. You've been ejected by the cockpit. From the cockpit. We got Charles. Oh, Charles, how you doing, dude?
How you doing, Ryan?
Hanging in there. How you feeling today?
I feel pretty good, I'm actually happy we cut Lakin Tomlinson. He stunk up the joint. Putting it lightly.
He was not too good. Left a little to be desired.
Deion Dawkins is a fucking idiot.
Hey, look, what he said was not necessarily wrong. We got to beat them before we can. If we don't want them talking, we have to beat them. That's the end all be all of it.
Well, I have to agree with my boy Richie. I think a lot of this thing he was saying was pure nonsense. I mean, Richie from Jets Media, I think.
Yeah.
Sauce is a guy that works his ass off. Garrett Wilson's a guy that works his ass off. Quentin Williams is a dog. He'll destroy Deion Dawkins any day of the week. But I think Deion Dawkins, the fact that this guy constantly goes on social media with his shirtless on, that's kind of a little idiotic and hypocritical.
I saw Nania posted something. It was like, I think 360 posts by Deion Dawkins and 5 posts on his story just today. And Michael Clemens, who's all about the media and the this and the that, is what, Dawkins was saying on there, doesn't even have an Instagram.
See, that's what I'm saying. He's an idiot. Like, why? I understand it's a rivalry. You're entitled to talk trash on the field, not off of it. You're not Muhammad Ali. You're not Joe Frazier.
They beat us. They've won the AFC East the last 4 years. They got the right to talk.
We beat them too.
We got to take away their right to talk. That's how it's got to happen.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. But we split with them the last couple of years. Which
we split with them. Did we split with them 2? Yeah, we did split with them the last 2 years, right? I don't know if we did it 3 years ago.
No, we didn't do it in 2021. We couldn't get a freaking win in our division in 2021. We were that bad in our division.
No bueno.
But I said this to your video and on the comment on your video in regards to Justin Jefferson being possibly traded. I
Mhm.
said he would be great on the Jets along with Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Tyler Conklin. But the thing is, it depends on what Minnesota wants to give up for him. And I like Justin Jefferson. I think he's a great receiver. I think he's one of the premier top 3, top 5 receivers in all of football.
Sure.
But the thing is, though, it depends on what you want to give. Like what were the chances of Stephon Diggs being an absolute? Well, he's been a dog since his days with Minnesota. But who would have think that he and Josh Allen would become one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos in the game today?
Hey, I mean, they tried to do it with Tua and Tyreek Hill. They've added Jamar Chase to Joe Burrow. That you get the young quarterback, their stud wide receiver consistently.
Before you cut me off, the reason why Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase had great success in the NFL is because they had great success in college.
Well, of course. I know that. But you still got to pair them together. I love it. I love it. Charles, you've been ejected
You're out of here.
from the cockpit. We got Zach Wilson Truther. How you doing, dude?
Good. How you doing, Ryan?
Hanging in there tonight. What's on your mind?
I was just gonna say it's been a while. You know who really told the truth on Zach Wilson was our owner. I thought that was pretty interesting.
That was ridiculous. I thought, as soon as I heard it, I was like, wow, well, I guess there wasn't a JetBlue conspiracy theory because that just sort of like let the cat out of the bag.
So obviously my name is my name, right? But like I wasn't a fan of it largely just because I just feel like just if you don't like him, just cut him. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to say things like that. It's wildly unprofessional.
Oh, it's insane. And then not to mention, like, you're not helping your cause in terms of trying to get a trade asset anyway. Like that, this
No,
felt
it-
very much like he felt burnt by Zach Wilson and just like, screw it. I don't care. I don't need the $1 million. I've got billions of Johnson & Johnson money.
It was a toddler rant. It was unbelievable. um, there's no purpose. There's no end game. It's just he's mad.
No. Just kick and scream and, you say you want to watch Wheels on the Bus. I know how it goes.
Anyway, there was actually one thing. I watched a good number of your videos. I actually tuned out a little bit in the off season just because I need some mental health, regrouping.
That is all right. Totally understand that.
But one thing that I think I disagree with you with, and I really want to hear your take, is I've heard you talk a lot about the kind of backup the Jets should look for. I think you've mentioned Ryan Tannehill among some other guys. Some of it's,
Yep.
I'm curious, I feel like we kind of bet big on Rodgers, right? And we owe it to him to surround him with top talent. Ideally, that would be receivers, a much better offensive line, and some of that's maybe not going to happen given who's on the market. But at the very least, I mean, if we're going to let Bryce Huff walk, I really don't want to spend the Bryce Huff money on someone like a Tannehill, who I can't see him having a Nick Foles type run. I just see him, he prevents us from being embarrassed. I don't think he actually puts us over the top. So in that perspective, do you think, would you still be interested in a really good backup? Or would you say, you know what, let's just go all in on Rodgers, and if he gets hurt again, then so be it?
So I'm of the opinion that I do want to go all in on Rodgers, and I do think that the only way we're winning a Super Bowl is with Rodgers at the helm at quarterback. The player you're looking for backup quarterback, in my opinion, is someone that can just hold you over for a game or two, someone that can feed the ball to Brees Hall, can keep a defense semi-honest, can get the ball out 10, 15 yards down the field with some sort of consistency. I don't want to spend a crazy ton on it. I would say, somewhere in the $5 to $8 million a year range, I think is probably the max that I'd want to spend on a backup quarterback. I don't want to go too much higher than that. I think Brissett signed for $7 million or something along those lines last year. There's other guys that I think are interesting, like the Sam Howell stuff is intriguing. He's 2 years, $1 million per year, but I don't know why Washington would want to trade him. In my mind, I think that I want someone with the highest possible floor. Because if you have to go long-term without Aaron Rodgers, short of like a miraculous comeback from an Achilles injury, like we're talking like if you wind up losing him for a substantial time, you're probably not going very far anyway. Like I don't even want to carry a third quarterback. I want to carry 2 quarterbacks and have our third quarterback, the young quarterback, either be on the practice squad or we IR him and redshirt him for the entire year. I don't want to carry 3 quarterbacks this season. I don't know if that answers the question.
No, I think we're on the same page. Cool. Good seeing you, Ryan. Thank you.
Cool. Take it easy, Zach Wilson Truther. You've been ejected from the cockpit. I've got Alan and then Rob, the Jet fan, in just a second. Pooch Guy comes in and says, Robert Saleh gives Michael Carter the green light. Green light? Oh, no, sorry. Michael Clemens the green light to kick Deion Dawkins' teeth in. I love it. Green light. I love seeing a little bit of hate in terms of our Jets here. All right, let's go over to Alan. Alan, how you doing, brother?
Evening, Ryan. Love the creativity of your show. Absolutely great. Couple of comments. First of all, this move was definitely inevitable, but again proves that another failure in the free agent market for Joe Douglas. This was an absolute bust. So when I look at this move,
I just want to ask you something real quick. So it's an absolute bust, but was it a bad signing at the time?
It was a bad signing because
really?
I always thought he got overpaid because he was playing next to Trent Williams. I never thought he was a great player. I always thought, because I remember he was a bust in Detroit, went to San Francisco, really resurrected his career and made all that money. So to me, I think they overpaid him and giving him what they give him $13 or $14 million.
I think it was 13 a year. Yeah,
just a mess. But going forward, ideally, I would love to see AVT play guard. I would like to see actually Tippmann and AVT play guard, and they bring in Cushenberry. But the problem is, I don't know how likely it is for them to bring in two tackles. So I agree with you. I kind of think AVT plays tackle. They move Tippmann to guard, maybe bring in another guard, whether it's a Runyon or maybe they can go high price shopping, go get an Onwenu. The one thing I worry about is where are they going to get the left tackle from? Because I don't see Trent Brown coming. I don't see Tyron Smith coming. Off chance they bring in a Cam Robinson, who might get released. Ideally, I would like to get one of the two left tackles in the draft. I don't think Alton's going to be there. I think he'll go 5 to the Chargers. Now I keep on reading that.
Yeah, I flip-flop between the Chargers and the Titans. It's like one of those two is where I'm seeing them.
You see, in my opinion, if Alt does not go to the Chargers, I think there's a very good chance the Jets might trade up to Atlanta to get the other one. Because I definitely think one of the tackles will go to Tennessee. The worry is if Harbaugh decides, you know what, I'll bring in Alt. I'll play Alt on the right side and have Slater stay at the left side. But ideally, we need a left tackle. I don't know where that's going to come from. I really don't. I'm trying to figure that one out. I just don't see it.
So what about the situation of getting someone that could play either side? Like I've speculated Jonah Williams might be an interesting signing. It's not a good signing. I don't think any of the tackles are necessarily good in free agency, but I could see them going after someone like him to give you the flexibility of taking the left tackle if he's there at 10 or going with the right tackle if the left tackles are gone. I don't think AVT is going to play tackle. I think AVT is going for guard. I hope he plays guard.
I hope you're right. I just don't see it because I don't see them really spending all that money getting two tackles because I don't think one of those two left tackles is going to fall to 10. I totally agree with you. I hope AVT stays at guard. I just don't think they'll do that. I think they'll move him to right tackle. And one final comment. I have no problem with what Dion Dawkins says. They're the hunted. They can say whatever the hell they want until we beat them. Okay. I love Josh Allen. I'm not a Bills fan, but I think Josh Allen's a great player. The Bills are the hunted. So you know what? They have every right to talk until we overtake them. I know we've beaten them 2 out of the last 4 times, but again, we're the hunters. We're not the hunted. So he has every right to say whatever he wants.
I completely agree, Alan. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, call-in number is pinned in the live chat. It's also this little QR code on the screen. If you'd like to call in, feel free to hit that up. I got a few comments on the screen if you guys want to take a look at that, see what the topics are that we're talking about. Let's go over to Rob, the Jet fan. What's up, Rob? How you doing?
Hey, how you doing, buddy? How's it going?
Hanging in there. What's on your mind?
Can you see me?
I got you. Loud and clear.
Yeah. Just want to make sure the camera was lined up. Just calling up and stuff. Is there any validity to that Justin Jefferson thing, or is that just a rumor going on? What's happening with that?
It's all rumors. So basically, the Justin Jefferson, there's speculation they may wind up moving him because Minnesota's not in a win now mode. And if you're paying a wide receiver $30 million a year, that you'd like to at least have a chance to fight for a championship. And with their salary cap situation, Kirk Cousins coming off the Achilles. They're losing Danielle Hunter, Marcus Davenport, their edge rushers. It doesn't seem likely that it would make sense for them to do that. But then trading him, it's going to cost a ton. You're probably talking 2 first-round picks and probably $30 million a year on a contract. And the little thought process that could go on is that the Jets have been in on trying to trade for Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, Deebo Samuel. You had Calvin Ridley, all Tyreek Hill, all these different big name wide receivers that the Jets were looking to throw a ton of money at, both in the terms of an actual new contract and by way of draft picks. So I don't think it's totally out of the realm of possibility. I think it's highly unlikely, but I don't think it's a 0% chance. I just think I don't know if that's where we spend our money.
It sounds like it would cost too much, to be honest with you. I understand that we're all in it for now, and we're trying to win, obviously, with Aaron Rodgers, but it might be a little too expensive, I think.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little rich. I think we're shopping more in I think we're all right giving up a trade for a cheaper contract or giving up a bigger contract without having to do a trade. I don't know if we're in the business of wanting to give the big contract and the big trade for this offseason.
I agree. I heard from Connor, I think it was Connor Hughes, saying that the Jets are predicted to sign Gardner Minshew as their backup quarterback. Would be elated.
I did not see that. That would be awesome. I'm a big Gardner Minshew fan. If that's actually factual, I would love to see Gardner Minshew in New York. He's got a swagger. It's like he's like the only type of swagger in the NFL from the quarterback position that I see that from is like Baker Mayfield. It's like kind of a little bit of a moxie to him. Like I wanted Baker back during that draft. If we got Gardner Minshew as our backup quarterback and he could be the long-term answer if he's willing to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for 2 years, I'm on board 100%.
I'm totally with you there. I mean, I'm a big fan of him. I also like Jacoby Brissett. I definitely are not in agreement with you guys at all about Sam Howell. I think he sucks.
I don't want Howell.
Smidge better than Jake thought I was nuts, but I think he's a smidge better than Zach Wilson. I don't even think he's much better than Zach Wilson. When you put up those numbers about throwing under pressure,
it's really bad.
42% as opposed to 54 from Zach. That told me the story right there. I don't want that guy for nothing. I think he's awful.
For me, I do think he's probably better than Zach Wilson, but I don't think the bar for backup quarterback should be better than Zach Wilson. It should be like a substantial step up.
Come on, let's be here. And one other thing before you check me here. How you feeling? I don't think Tippmann should be moved out of the center position. People have to stop that and talking about him, putting him as a guard. I thought he did a good job as a center because the alternative would be probably us re-signing Connor.
McGovern,
and he's not that good. I mean, just leave
so
him there.
I don't think he's necessarily that good. The interesting thing with Tippmann is he actually played better at guard than he did at center. And center, he was fine, and you draft him to be a center and all that. Like, I get that. But there was also Aaron Rodgers wanted McGovern to be his center. He didn't want a rookie snapping him the ball. And we saw a few times last year where Tippmann kind of had the snap a little bit all over the place. I could see a situation where Rodgers either says, hey, I've seen enough from Tippmann, I want him to be the center, and that's the end of story. Or, hey, I would like to bring back Connor McGovern, and then I think you automatically put Tippmann in as one of your guards. I would like to keep AVT as one of the guards. And then at least you have those 3 set, and you're just looking for, the number 10 pick at tackle and then one other offensive lineman plus depth.
I just think it's easier to find a guard than a really good center. I mean, guards are a dime of a dozen. And for me, I just hope I'm hoping, unless Pashano falls to us, which I would run up there and take him because he's a bona fide left tackle. He looks like a plug and play. At least he looks like it. A Fuego, I like Fuego a lot. A lot.
I would say any of these top 4, if you can get one of Alt, Fashanu, Fuaga, or Latham, any one of the 4 I think would be a plug-and-play starter for us. And then if, say 3 of them are gone and you don't really love the 4th guy, I would love to explore a trade down because there's still more tackles. Like, I really like Amarius Mims, the tackle from Georgia. If you could slide down a few picks and select him,
Oklahoma, Guyton from Oklahoma. What do you think about him?
So he's probably my most interesting player to watch at the combine. I want to watch his interviews. I want to watch how his metrics come out, because his the metrics that they measured at the Senior Bowl were electric. Him, just like Mims, don't have a lot of tape. So it's a lot of projection. So where the Jets are right now, I would not put Guyton or Mims ahead of Latham and Fuaga and Alt and Fashanu, just because of the resume that those two guys, or those four guys in particular, have. But I wouldn't be upset if we could net a second-round pick in a trade down and then pick up one of those tackles. I'd be just fine with that. Rob,
I'm a little scared of Latham just because of the way he looked in the bowl game. He didn't look so good.
So Blewett was the one that was saying that to me too. He's just like, hey, I know he didn't look good in the bowl game, but look at all his other reps. And Dom C's a real big fan of Latham. I know Tigo's not the biggest fan. If Tigo's in here, he's not thrilled with him. But I understand. I've heard that from a few people. Rob, you have been ejected from the cockpit. Boys and girls, if you'd like to call in, I got the call-in number on the screen. All you got to do is scan this little QR code right here, or you can click the pinned comment in the live chat, and it'll take you to the call-in lines. We are going to continue with our calls. We got Shane joining the show. Shane, how you doing tonight?
Hi, thanks for having me on. I love your channel. Watch all the videos and stuff. I wanted to mention something that I don't think is going to be too popular, but
right,
I like
away.
most of the wide receivers that are available. It's just I have concerns with all of them that there's going to be other teams interested. The price is going to rise too high, and this thought that I can't get out of my mind is say Mike Evans is getting a little too close to $30 million, or Calvin Ridley's getting over $20 million. Spend that money and say we're going to use draft picks on the wide receiver. That third round pick is going to be a wide receiver. Maybe both of the fourth get wide receivers in here, and spend that money on Christian Wilkins or something have just the best interior defensive line in the league.
If we go after interior defensive line after all the woes we've had, Shane, I will eject you right now. I would be so pissed if we went interior defensive line early in free agency. I think we're going to need it. I wouldn't be upset if we went after a Fletcher Cox or something like that. But the bulk of our money definitely has to go towards O-line and wide receiver. Just has to.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. It's
you're worried about the amount we're going to have to pay and the quality of the player that's there. And I think that's a valid point.
Right. I like Mike Evans. I like Calvin Ridley. T. Higgins isn't going to be available, but I like the wide receivers that are available.
Pittman's probably not going to be available. Hollywood Brown's going to be out there. Odell's going to be out there. I think Mike Evans is Mike Williams is probably going to get cut from the Chargers. All of them have their own little warts, and if we're going to have to overpay, you're not necessarily loving it. So if I had to overpay, I'm not going to overpay for Mike Evans. If we're hey, we feel comfortable at 25, but Mike Evans is going to get 28 or 30, let's go for the 28 or 30 and get ourselves a dog, as opposed to maybe spending 17 on not a great receiver or something along those lines.
Right. I guess my thought was say something. I think Green Dean likes Tyler Boyd, right? So
I really
say you
like
get
Tyler Boyd. I am a Boyd fan. I just don't. I think he goes to Pittsburgh. He really likes Mike Tomlin, and he's from Pittsburgh. So I would be surprised if he wound up going anywhere else.
Right. Okay. So maybe you don't get Boyd, but say you get a solid wide receiver for somewhere 12 million, somewhere in that ballpark, and then
DJ Shark's
you sign up.
DJ Shark
he was
really
with
healthy, 6'5".
Carolina, right?
Yep, and he was with our wide receiver coach last year. So there's if you want low end price with potential reward, maybe you think that direction.
Right. So I'm just saying, say Mike Evans, say the Chiefs, throw 30 million at him, which I don't think they will, but if something like that happens, or he goes back to Tampa Bay, and and Calvin Ridley's getting too much. If you get one of those lower ends, but still solid wide receivers, and say you sign a tackle in free agency, you're going to draft the tackle at 10, but you have more money because the Jets can free up. They'll have some more money, and say Christian Wilkins is there.
$60 million. We could get a lot of money. It's
right.
60 or 70 million if you really wanted to do all the hoops.
And players are going to want more money, so maybe Christian Wilkins is going to probably get more, but I wouldn't offer him more than what Quinnen Williams is getting. And
No, if
if
you
he
offer
would
him
accept
anything
that,
near that, you'd be insane.
no,
We have so much money
you
that we
can't.
need to like invest on the offensive side. Shane, no, not having it. You're ejected. Get out of here. Shane, thank you for the call. Absolutely not. I completely disagree with you. I think your opinions are terrible. I do not want defensive tackle, especially one that's going to be in the price range of Quinnen Williams. Not a shot. Wide receiver, sure. Offensive line, not a problem. Defensive tackle, that's like the one position you could have picked that would have had me like losing my damn marbles. Not cool. It's all right. Boys and girls, if you'd like to call in number is on the screen. I'll show you guys. My buddy sent me some congratulations on 30,000 subscribers. Got some M&Ms. I don't know if you can see the monkey one. There's a monkey one in here somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. Probably not. I don't know where it is. Got me some M&Ms, though. Very pumped. Let's see. Let's talk to the chat a little bit. See what you guys are talking about in here. Jonathan says, if the Jets are all in, they need to go get Tyron Smith. Also, without a line, it doesn't matter if we get Jefferson, if Rodgers is getting sacked and hurt. Yes, no, we need to get the offensive line first and foremost, 100%. But I think with $65 million, you can do both. You can make all that happen. I don't think it's going to be as crazy as people think. I just don't think... I think someone's going to put together a more attractive package than the Jets are going to be able to. So I don't think it's likely that the Jets get Jefferson. Tyron Smith, I'd be down on that. I'm good with that. Frank says, where would Howell's season last year rank on the Jets all-time list? It's 2 or 3. It's not the most passing yards all time. He had just under 4,000 yards, and the Jets' record is like 4,012 yards or something near that. I know Fitzpatrick had a really good year in 2015. I don't know if it was more than what Howell had this past year. It was probably on a per-game basis would have been more because it would have been 16 games as opposed to 17 games. I don't know why Washington would trade Howell. That feels like more the question for me. And I want someone with a little bit of a higher floor than what Howell provides. Howell feels like with 21 interceptions and 21 touchdowns, I don't know. There seems like too much volatility there. I don't particularly love it. GTA 4-Man says, did they release Dwayne Brown yet? Dwayne Brown had a voided contract, and his voided contract voided last week, I think. Him, Lawson, Jefferson, and Whitehead's contracts are all voided now. So they're all available to be signed elsewhere. Let's see. John says, Mims has only played 7 to 8 college games in his career. JD can't draft on potential this year. Latham or Fuaga are safer picks. Yes, 100%. I completely agree. I think the only way you argue it is if you get something good enough in a trade back, whether it's a player or second-round pick or something like that. Then I'd be kind of all right with rolling the dice a little bit there. But I would agree. I want one of the top 4 guys for sure. Adirondack Guy says, absolutely bring back Connor McGovern, cheap as F and solid. He's been the most consistent lineman we've had in the past few years till he got hurt. I completely agree. There's a lot of people that don't like Connor McGovern because he's not named Nick Mangold or Kevin Mawai, and we've had such a stellar repertoire with centers over the last 20 years, aside from like the most recent, I guess 6 or 7 years. Aside from Connor McGovern, McGovern's been like steady Eddie. If you can give me steady Eddie, like average 15 level center play for $1.9 million, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to kick both Tittman and AVT out to guard, and I'm going to feel just fine about that. Now, if you want to sign McGovern now and then address it in the draft and get like say a 3rd round interior offensive lineman that you really like is there, and you want to plug him in as the starter, and now, McGovern's depth or Tittman moves to center, McGovern's depth there, and then you have, insert new guard, maybe a Zinter in round 4. I'm fine with that as well. But I like the idea of bringing back McGovern. Hurtis says, this guy's responsible for the Will McDonald pick. I think so too. Shane, throw me for a loop. Hater says, love Rob, but in my opinion, Howell is a lot better than Zach Wilson. Don't care what digging deep in the nerd stats say. I wanted badly for Zach Wilson to succeed as a Jet, but objectively, not even close to Howell. Well, Zach, yeah. I think Howell is better than Zach. I think Howell was tasked with throwing the ball significantly more than Zach. And I think that's because they trusted Howell more than we trusted Zach. I feel like when you look at Zach's numbers, they're clearly not where they should be. As far as like, is he necessarily better? Like, I don't think better than Zach is the bar that should be the threshold to get over. Like Zach Wilson's like an all-time stinker or clunker. I don't particularly want to have that as the bar for backup quarterback. So I agree, but don't necessarily agree at the same time. Outside the echo chamber says, no one likes BYU guys after Zach, but we could have had a wide receiver 2 and a starting right tackle if we weren't closed off. Don't write off Kingsley. I don't know how to say his last name. It's a wild last name. Offensive tackle, it's Sewell's cousin. I did not know that. That's interesting. That is fascinating for me. Let's see. We've got Steven on the line. Steven, how you doing, brother?
How you doing, man?
Hanging in there. How's your night going?
Good. All right. So my topic is the depressing nature of Zach Wilson.
All right, let's go.
So when we first got him, I think we were all pretty excited for how he was going to do.
Sure.
First season went pretty terrible for him, but I think we all still had hope for the second season. Sure. And then we all know how that went. So,
not good.
Yeah. So I still can't get over, why would they not get a backup quarterback this season or this previous season?
So the previous season, I think they were doing, honestly, it's what I wanted them to do. I wanted Zach to not touch the field. And when you look at how Rodgers has played over the last 10 years of his career, he never misses games. Same thing with Derek Carr. Either quarterback you brought in, the plan probably would have been, hey, we're not going to let Zach start this year. This guy's going to start every game. Even if he's not 100% healthy, he's going to start every game like he has every single year throughout the last 10 years of both of their careers. And lo and behold, Rodgers sets foot on MetLife's turf and immediately is crushed by injury. It's like literally the only thing that could not happen to Rodgers was the one thing that did happen to Rodgers. So I get the gamble. It's one I would have taken as well. Now with hindsight being as clear as it is and how cheap the backup quarterbacks were, it makes no sense. I think their original plan was to fluff up Zach's value and trade him in the offseason. I don't think there was any intention for him to be groomed behind Rodgers and be the heir apparent in New York. I don't think that was ever actually going to be the case. I think their whole thought was to trade him in the offseason and having him automatically become quarterback 3. Maybe they were looking to recoup a draft pick by hoping he would have a better season than the last 2. I don't know. It didn't work out. It sucks. Yeah. We got burnt hard.
I mean, I really don't think Robert Saleh wanted any part of it. So who do you put that blame on? Is that on Joe Douglas or is that on Woody Johnson for keeping him around?
For backup quarterback, I mean, it sounds like Rex Hogan was a strong voice in the draft room for getting Zach Wilson. I think more of it had to do with his cap number and where the Jets stood. It would have cost us more money to get rid of him this past year than it would have to just keep him on the roster. And I think it's one of those situations where you've put all your eggs in the Rodgers basket. You're not expecting him to get hurt. You got screwed. You got caught with your pants down. It just is what it is. I don't know. Yeah. I don't have a good rationale for it. Other than I would have done the same thing. I would have gambled all our additional funds, not on a backup quarterback, but on supporting pieces to help Rodgers, because I figured if Rodgers goes down for any extended amount of time, our season's in the shitter anyway. It just so happens that we lost Rodgers week 1 and he was actually able to come back at the end of the season from some insane Achilles surgery that he wound up having. And I don't know if I don't think you anticipate that going into the season. Is that going to be the case? The same way you don't anticipate, losing 12 or 13 offensive linemen. Same sort of thought
Yeah, I don't
process.
think anybody saw that coming.
Oh, Steven, anything more from me?
Nope, that's all.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for the call. You've been ejected from the cockpit. We got multivitamins joining the show. Multivitamins, how you doing, brother?
Ryan, how you doing?
Hang it in there. What's on your mind?
Well, first, I had to go back to the last time we talked, though. It was like a month ago, and I brought up to you, why don't we trade for Justin Jefferson, right?
I thought you were nuts.
And
there's no way.
There's some steam. Why not do it still?
So I like it. Did you watch the video I put out today, or just thinking about the topic?
Yes, sir. I commented on it. I even told you. Last month, though, I talked about it.
You did?
Go get
you were
Owanu.
on the front lines. You were saying, this makes a lot of sense. Look what they've done in the past.
Exactly. You can send something similar to what they did for Randy Moss and just do that. That's just what I think, though. You give them 10, you give them maybe like a 5th or a 6th in next year's draft because you got to pay him too. Unless he's a quarterback, you're not getting 3 1s, 3 2s, and say Sauce for the 10th pick. Like, you're not for like one guy. You're not doing that unless it's a quarterback, unless it's like Mahomes or Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. That's the only way you're getting that type of cap.
It's hard because if you give up 10, I love the idea of getting Justin Jefferson, but like to me, I think my first move is going after Evans, and if you don't get Evans and you start working your way down like the weapon ladder, and then you're like, okay, Evans at his contract plus keeping the 10th pick, much more valuable. How bad of a wide receiver are you willing to go down before that 10th pick is more valuable for the trade asset as opposed to drafting the next tackle on our offensive line? Because that's where I get hung up, is I don't know how to solve offensive line. Unless you feel like AVT is one of the tackles, and then you're going to sign like another tackle that you would have signed anyway.
My only thing though with the tackle, though, like I was saying before, though, you would get what's his name, like Owanu? I never know how to pronounce it. The kid from New England.
Onwenu, the guard tackle from New England. Yeah, he's going to be a pretty hot name.
Yeah, you would take him, you put him at right tackle. You would get someone like a vet like Jonah Williams or Tyron Smith. What's his name?
So now you're asking for 2 of the top
No, that's why I said
6 tackles.
I'm not saying both. One of them.
Okay.
You get one of them. You have them mentor up Connor Warner, or if any of Bakatari's out there though, if you can go with him like you said. They'll do an incentive type of deal. You can do that. Because that I like though when you said like that. Because when people were saying like go get Bakhtiari, I'm like, I don't know. I don't like that knee. Man's 30 plus years old and he has knee problems. I don't like it.
I want Bakhtiari. I really do. I don't want to pencil him in as a starter, but when he can finally pass a physical, which I think is going to be around the time of the draft, maybe just before or just after the draft, whatever it is, I think we would have already solved most of our offensive line problems with the anticipation of 10 being an additional tackle as well. And I think having him as like the next guy and like, hey, it's Rodgers' buddy, the upside's just enormous. Those tackles don't shake free unless there's a red flag. And I'm willing to roll the dice that this surgery is the one to fix all of it, because that's what it seems like it was.
Exactly. The only other thing, though, are you a big fan of bringing back Sam? Yes or no? Just for backup.
Ooh.
Let him learn from Rodgers.
I would love it. I really do love Sam. I think it's total bullshit. No one's actually like Douglas isn't going to bring him in. He traded him away. I would be floored. It would be for all the same reasons that you don't bring in someone like Justin Fields. The same thought process applies to me there. I like the player a lot. I just don't see Douglas doing it. Mutt Viles, you've been ejected from the cockpit. So much stuff to get into. Mutt Viles also had his member super chat, which I'm pretty sure we already talked about. But he says, hi, do you think we sign a guard to replace Laken Tomlinson or move Tittman to the left guard spot? I think we move AVT to the left guard spot. I think Tittman stays at right guard. Also, I'm sending a similar trade package for Justin Jefferson, like the Randy Moss trade, the 10th pick and a later pick. Bring back Sammy. So Mutt Viles does want to bring back Sam. And he's been on the Justin Jefferson thing for a while. He's been talking about it for a bit now. All sorts of excited to maybe have this happen. I don't know how likely it is. I'll say that much. I would say it seems very unlikely that Justin Jefferson could wind up being a New York Jet. Not totally out of the realm of possibility, but very unlikely. All right, boys and girls, I want you guys to hit that like button for me. We've got over 100 likes, 200 people in the stream right now. We're going to be moving this over to the Talkin' Jets draft show. So as soon as this stream ends, you're going to get pushed over to there, and then myself and Dom C are going to be talking a whole bunch of Jets draft. I'm all sorts of excited for this. Boys and girls, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, make sure you check out the sponsors in the description down below. It goes a long way. If you're not subscribed, come on, hit that subscribe button. I see Trevor from Canada in there real quick. He says, Ryan, are you doing another collab with Tyson soon? I didn't text Tyson. I meant to text Tyson. But I will get a collab fired up with him for sure. All right, boys and girls, it's been a lot of fun hanging out with you. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.